I want to talk about one of the best uses that we have found at ISLA for AI, actually. And, one of the jobs of a teacher or an administrator is behavior management and discipline. It's an unfortunate part of the gig, but it's a big part of the gig. These kids are learning, they're growing, they're testing the rules, they're testing the limits, and sometimes they step outside of the lines, right? And at ISLA, we have the three basic core agreements of be kind, be caring, and be original, and each class creates their own in-class agreements. Well, when a student steps outside of a line in a minor way, of course, the teacher speaks to them. That's typically what we call a tier one response. And we built something called the Justice Pathway to guide teachers and guide administrators and guide students and families on the policies that we use to handle any of these misbehaviors. Sometimes that misbehavior will get a little bit more serious or more frequent, and it'll move up to a tier two, which is like when you involve other teachers. You might communicate with multiple staff members. If it gets even higher, it might involve administrators, right? And then finally, it might come to my desk where there's someone who, this has been in very rare instances, but they have either done something so egregious or so frequent that it's time to make a director style decision. And throughout that process, it's such a challenge to, impose what's on paper in terms of policy with people that we know and love. Anybody who becomes a teacher or school director does it because they have so much care in their heart. And I know that ISLA parents are also incredibly caring people. I know how much of a challenge it can be in your own home sometimes to set limits and expectations for your kids. So we sat down after many years of trial and error and created these justice pathway policies. And we created scenarios, we debated it, we talked about it with students, we talked about it with teachers. There's so many. And the cool use of AI that we did is that I was able to create something called a GPT, all in ChatGPT. So I upload our justice pathway. I upload a lot of information. It's about a 30-page document that includes everything that you could possibly want to know, the definitions of the tiers, the definitions of the core agreements at ISLA, common misbehaviors, common responses, our philosophy on nonviolent communication and restoration over punishment. And I created this GPT. And what happens now is when something happens in a classroom, if a student falls short of their best performance, we go into this and we do exactly what we would do if we were reporting to a parent or reporting if a teacher was reporting to me. You describe the incident. You mention the child, you mention the age, you mention any of the previous context that's important to know, like has this happened before? Have you tried other things? Were there circumstances that sort of created this conflict, right? And so you put that in there. The GPT then, based on that information, makes a recommendation on how our policy should be implemented, whether that should be a tier one response and the teacher should just speak to them, or whether it should involve a parent conference or even more. And now, first of all, that's pretty cool because that gives us all these resources and tools and how to properly handle the situation. But I think the thing that I love most about it is that we wrote these policies with a lot of care, a lot of debate, a lot of experimentation. And even having them on paper, when it comes down to really having to deal with the student one-on-one, sometimes it can be difficult to make those tough decisions. And to take the emotion out of it, when we put it here and the justice pathway gives us guidance on how to respond, it can really center us, I think, and helping us see, okay, this is the proper response. We are doing things by the book. We are clear and proper with our students. We're upfront. We've made these agreements with them. They've made these agreements with us. And so it's been super helpful. And sometimes you'll find that your response, Justice Pathway says, nope, that's a lower response. And sometimes it's the opposite. It'll say it's a little higher. Obviously, we don't have to take word just from the Justice Pathway, but it's this amazing use of AI that allows us to go into the letter of the contract, the letter of the agreement that we made with our students, and make sure that we are following our word just as much as we want our kids to follow their word.